Hi. So today we are answering the question that says, in far too many small churches, the student minister leads the student ministry alone with no adult help. What do you think are the top reasons why people do not sense or respond to a call to invest in the student ministry? Kyle's going to kick us off and then we will go.
So the first answer I gave was that a lot of times whenever we give out the call for help, it's usually too general. And we are saying like, if anybody wants to help, just come and talk to me after the service, or you can email me. And people just assume that that's a job for someone else. And so they don't really actually take the initiative to do it. And so if we're more specific by going up to specific people saying, hey, we would really like your help and here's how you can serve, then we'll see more people be involved. And then another thing is when people come up to you and they're saying like, hey, I would love to do this thing to help be a part of what you're doing in the youth ministry, and they've never been involved before, it's always good to at least find some way to say yes to them, because if you just immediately say no, then it's just going to really discourage them from being involved in youth ministry. And so that new engagement, finding a way for them to be involved and saying yes to them is really important.
One thing I talked about was actually just thanking the leaders and volunteers publicly. I remember at my church after VBS, after the sermon, the pastor called up the children's minister, and it only took 15 seconds to say, hey, here's all the work she did this week, and a bunch of children gave their lives to Christ. And even though it only took 15 seconds, like, she was so touched that she almost cried. And so just publicly talking about what the volunteers are doing, what the leaders are doing, I think that'll help kind of demystify what the position is like. And it might be, the volunteer might be someone knows, and say, oh, like if Ms. Smith is doing that, like sounds like I can do it too. And I think it just ties into what we've been talking this whole semester about, just tying the teenagers more into the church and making them become more visible.
Yeah, so kind of along with that, I think a lot of like student ministries focus more on the student pastor versus the church as a whole. And I think, some ways that this can change is providing more opportunities for the church to see the students and see the student ministry. The way this could look like, they could be serving on praise teams, they could be serving as greeters, volunteers, or just variously, just maybe like moving like the student ministry day to another day and not have a Sunday church and just being all in the same service or something like that. But I just think that that's and that's an important thing, and that could open up the door for people to see what's happening in the student ministry, and it could possibly allow them to want to be a part of that too. So, yeah.
And my thoughts on this, honestly, mirrors a lot of what has already been said, or echoes what has been said already. But something that I kind of pointed out was when we see a student pastor that's very about what they're doing and it's my ministry and that kind of tight hold energy, other people can pick up on that and they want nothing to do with that ministry. If they know that their time and efforts are not appreciated, they're not going to want to spend the time interacting with the youth pastor. Also, just, yeah. And then also going along with the idea of having the students be a part of the church so that they're seeing the students. One thing that I've seen in my own church is that our students no longer have a Sunday morning Bible study. Everything is now on Wednesdays just because we recognize how busy students are these days. We don't want to try and compete with things, but if we can ask their parents that sometimes have more than one child in a youth group to be a part of one day, we're able to allow them to be a part of what's going on Sunday mornings, which allows them, if they stay for our second service, to volunteer, or if they're going to be worshiping during the second service, they can volunteer during the first service. And this allows them to build relationships with the other members in the church. And as they build those relationships, they start sharing about their lives, and they start sharing about the fact that they go to Wednesday night, and the fact that in their group, they used to have a small group of about 4 of them, but now because they have been very faithful in sharing the gospel and bringing their friends, they have a group of 10. And while that's so awesome, they're missing out on that more of smaller group on one adult relationship. And because this adult has seen them do life with them and become more comfortable with them, they may feel the need to step in and honor the fact that this student has been taking an hour out of their Sunday to serve alongside them. So just having, I guess that one is having students ask and share the need for help, and it not only being on the student pastor. So yeah, that was our discussion today. Honestly, it was just a culmination of this entire year. We've enjoyed every single one of these discussions and this class, and we're thankful for you guys for listening. Goodbye.